Shalom guys, for the next few days we're going to take a look at the Sefer haChinuch. And if you've ever heard of the Sefer haChinuch, that's okay. Sefer haChinuch was a Sefer written by one of the Rishonim, which means the time period of about 1100 to about 1500 in history. And we're not 100% sure who wrote the Sefer haChinuch. The rumor has that he wrote it for his child, either as a young boy or as a bar mitzvah. But it is used today as a really good summary of the 613 mitzvot. In fact, I happen to have the Sefer haChinuch right in front of me, and it is an explanation of all 613 mitzvot. It happens to be a machloket exactly how to count those, although everyone basically just agrees about what they are. Which ones count as the 613 and which ones don't. But this is the version we're working with. And it is a really clear book. It also happens to be in English as well. It was originally written in Hebrew, but we have an English version. We are going to do a report on one mitzvah from the Sefer haChinuch. It gives you a great opportunity to bridge the Torah Shebechtav, Torah Sheba'al-Peh, the Masorah, and see how all these Mishnayot we're learning, and similar ones, apply to a mitzvah. So we are going to pick a mitzvah in class. You should have already picked a mitzvah in class by the time you're watching these instructions. And you're going to write 3 questions you have about that mitzvah first. You might have to adjust your questions if you don't find the answer to your questions, but try to think about 3 questions you could have while you're looking for in the learning. Again, if you don't find the answers, then you can go back and adjust your questions. You do find the answer too, but try to really think of really open-ended, something that you can think of initially. After you've gotten that, you're going to learn about your mitzvah, both from Torah Shebechtav, where does the mitzvah come from the Chumash, and the Torah Sheba'al-Peh, as explained in the Sefer haChinuch. Make a note of anything interesting you find in there, right? There's lots you can share. Pick whatever speaks out to you. The next part, you're going to find one source that the Sefer haChinuch quotes from the Torah Sheba'al-Peh. That could be a Mishnah, it could be a Medrash, that could be Talmud, it could be a Baraita. We'll learn that source, bring the Hebrew and English. You can find that on Sefer. It should link to it in the Sefer haChinuch itself. And summarize the teaching on a separate slide. I will show you how to find that if it doesn't later in this video. For a mitzvah that does not have an earlier source quoted, there are some of them that he does not quote anything. You can quote something that he does quote. He'll either quote the Rambam, Maimonides, the Mishnah Torah. That is fine. Anything that is before him, you really want to show the Masorah and how it comes from a transmission from one source to another. You might find it helpful to search for the quoted source that he quotes and Google, and then open it on Sefer when that pops up as one of the options on Google. It's very likely to happen. Once you have your research done, you're going to present it as a Google slide presentation. That Google slide presentation should include the following information. I went too far. It should have a title and summary of the mitzvah. Right? So if you were doing a Shavat Aveda, your title would be Hashavat Aveda, returning a lost object. If your mitzvah was Shluch HaKhan, it's Shluch HaKhan, sending a mother bird away. Something along those lines. Should have the pasuk that the mitzvah comes from in both Hebrew and English. Should be quoted there, at least referred to there, you can find it. And then the answers to the following questions. These are not your questions, these are the questions that everyone should be answering, plus your questions next. Number 1, who does the mitzvah apply to? Is it only for men? Is it only for women? Is it only for Kohanim? Is it only for Yisraelim? Is it, I don't know, whatever else it is. What is the consequence for penalty for violating this mitzvah? If you have a mitzvah aseh, a positive mitzvah that we do, you very likely will not have the consequence for doing it. In fact, you have a reward for doing it that wouldn't count for those mitzvot. Does it apply in Israel or also outside of Israel? Whatever the answer is, you should state what that answer is. Does it apply with a Beis HaMikdash or without a Beis HaMikdash? Again, whatever the answer is, you should state that. And why do we have this mitzvah? He gives some reason, some tam for every single mitzvah. So there's something there he's quoting. Sometimes it says, it's logical. It's obvious we shouldn't be killing people. In that case, think about what he means by that. Give a little bit of a deeper answer in your own words for it. But if he does quote a source, you should quote his source, as well as your 3 questions and answers. That last slide should have that source from Chazal that you learned. When you're done, you turn it in. When you are done, you have two options. You can either learn B'kiyut, Makot, fantastic thing to do, trying to make that siyum here, or you complete another mitzvah for extra credit, at which point you can have kind of free range to pick whatever one you want, not just the assigned one. These are a list of the mitzvot. I'm going to show you kind of how it looks like to do it. Let me look at it. To start from the beginning, it's a very good place to start. We're going to take a look at the mitzvah of Gid Hanasha, eating the sciatic nerve. That would likely be your title if you were doing Gid Hanasha, is Gid Hanasha eating the sciatic nerve, or specifically not to eat the sciatic nerve. And he has here both Hebrew and English. Again, he's quoting exactly where that pasuk is from, the original one at least, and it goes through each of these. And you can go, and on Sefer, it's really cool. You can just click here, and it will take you right to that link, to the pasuk right here, and that is not it actually. This is it, and you can quote it right there if that is the source you're quoting. So you have that information, where it comes from, the root of the commandment. The root is going to be kind of like the why behind it. Where does this come from? Why is this? Some deeper messages here. Bereshit Rabbah, that's Medrash, so I can go take a look and see. Do I want to quote this? So this is in Hebrew only. Maybe it's not the best place to quote. Although you could quote it and then know that it's going to be quoting it over here. But I'm going to wait for another source to see if it quotes anything else that I can use easier. Over here, with regards to explain in Chulin, this is where it's going to be quoted from. It's another source you could quote. Chulin is from the Talmud. Torah Yordei is a little bit later, but it's before the Sefer haChinuch. And it is a mitzvah in all places. It's not just about the Beit HaMikdash, all males and females, for everybody, and has the consequence, so the source for the consequence. It's interesting. That's going to be really interesting here. From the end of Bereshit, until the end of Bereshit, there are no more commitment mitzvot from this point. It's kind of interesting. This is the last one there, so the third. So all these sources are there. That's a little bit of a shorter one. You can go do yours for whatever your mitzvah is. There are a lot of mitzvot. Some of them have a place where you could find it if it's not as easy. Some of it have the little bit of a summary already there. If you would like to go through the Sefer haChinuch and find a mitzvah that is not on this list, that is okay. However, know that it will be a little bit harder. I picked the ones that I thought would really work for this assignment well. That'll be pretty easy and straightforward. If you want to go challenge yourself, that is fine for your second one. For the first one, I want to stick to this list of mitzvot. B'atzlacha, I really look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I really look forward to seeing your independent learning and what you produce from that and present from that. So, see you later, and b'atzlacha.